A very good evening. Nice to have you join us on the news at 5, reaching you from Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Dominic Iwiwa. These are the stories and reports we're tracking at the moment. We start off with politics, as the All Progressives Congress is holding state assembly elections across the 36 states today, and details have started emerging about winners and losers and those aggrieved about the process. In Katsina State, the member representing Keita constituency in the Katsina State House of Assembly, Suraju Kwaskwaro, secured the party ticket to seek re-election. Honorable Kwaskwaro emerged through a consensus affirmation process alongside other APC House of Assembly candidates across the 34 local government areas of Katsina State. In Ekiti State, Bolu Fayose, son of former Ekiti State Governor Yodele Fayose, recorded a sweeping victory to clinch the ticket for Irekpodun Ifelodun Constituency 2, defeating incumbent lawmaker and former Deputy Speaker of the Ekiti State House of Assembly, Hakeem Jamiu. According to results from the exercise, Bolu Fayose secured 4,165 votes across the wards, while Jamiu polled 372 votes. In Lagos State, voting is yet to commence across wards for aspirants seeking the party's ticket ahead of the 2027 general elections. The primaries are expected to witness intense competition, with 184 aspirants vying for 40 constituency seats in the Lagos State House of Assembly. Staying with politics, the crisis rocking the All Progressives Congress APC Senatorial primary in the Ekiti North Senatorial District has deepened, as former Senator Ayo Arishe says he is not satisfied with the exercise. In Imo State, party members also staged a protest over what they described as the alleged imposition of candidates for the Isu Njaba Nkwere Federal Constituency. That's part of our report, which chronicles the All Progressives Congress senatorial primaries in some states in the south of the country.
Ahead of the high-stakes National Assembly primary elections, some states in the south appear to have prepared for the exercise. In Ekiti State, hours into the process, the Electoral Committee officials refused to show up as delegates express anger and frustration. In some wards visited by Channels Television, aggrieved APC members openly criticized the exercise.
So, for me, if the president says, calm it down, I will calm it down. But if I do not hear from him, that means he has given me the license to go as far as I want to go.
From Ekiti to Abia in the southeast region, as Senator Ojus Okalu emerges victorious in Abia North with over 65,000 votes to defeat his opponent. For the Abia Central Senatorial seat, Emeka Atuma defeats both former Senator Nkechi Nwogu and former House of Representatives member Sam Onuigbo to take the seat. And next is neighboring Imo State, where reactions have continued to trail the outcome of the APC primary election for the Isu Njaba Nkwere Federal Constituency, as some party members staged a protest over what they described as the alleged imposition of candidates. They call on the National Working Committee of the APC to intervene, ensuring a more credible primary election is conducted.
We are not indicting anybody, we are not against anybody, rather we want to express our mind that we need our women, Team Chinyere, Oprum.
In Bayelsa, the primaries have been described as the calmest internal process the state has seen in recent years. During the exercise, Governor Doyedi calls on politicians and their supporters to keep the contest from tearing the party apart. He warns that personal ambitions should not override party unity.
Whether we belong to different parties, first and foremost, we are brothers and sisters in the same state and Nigerians. And so we have no reason killing one another for political offices.
And finally, in the South-South, The party's primary election ended in a resounding victory for former Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Oden Ewa.
Mr. Ibia Odenewa, having satisfied the requirements of the Electoral Act and the constitution of our great party, the All Progressives Congress, and having scored the highest number of votes in this election, is hereby declared the winner.
And for the All Progressives Congress, now that the exercise is over, whoever is dissatisfied with the outcome must submit their complaint to the National Assembly Primary Appeals Committee.
Controversy continued to trail the All Progressives Congress APC National Assembly primary elections across the states, and in Zanfara State, some of the senatorial aspirants who are dissatisfied with the process say they were never consulted for a decision on consensus as the mode for selecting the party's candidates. Speaking at a news conference in Gusau, the Zanfara State capital, an aspirant for the Zanfara North Senatorial District, Sani Shinkafi, vowed to challenge the outcome in court. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, has also met with some aggrieved members of the party who were disqualified from participating in the primaries.
The APC National Assembly primaries in Zanfara State held across the 14 local government areas of the state. At the end of the exercise, many serving federal lawmakers emerged winners in their various senatorial districts, based on the consensus arrangement adopted by the party. However, reactions have continued to trail the consensus arrangement, as some aspirants vow to challenge the outcome in court, alleging a lack of transparency and inclusiveness.
I was never consulted or invited for any meeting on the so-called consensus arrangement. This injustice shall not stand and will not stand. I will challenge my exclusion from the valid Zanfara North primary in the court of law.
Among the aggrieved aspirants are those seeking the party's ticket to contest the Zanfara State House of Assembly, but were disqualified by the screening committee. 85 disqualified aspirants also met with the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, to express their dissatisfaction.
We were surprised to see our names tested all over the world that we are not cleared. Most of our people here, Your Excellency, are better than the people screening us.
The need for aggrieved aspirants to keep faith with the party dominates discussion at the meeting.
All I can say is that you should be rest assured that we are here to do justice. That some of you are going to be looking into some of the problems that you have. We can observe some of you in some political appointment, both the state and national.
As the meeting ends, the minister cautioned aspirants against making inflammatory remarks that can undermine the leadership of the party ahead of the 2027 general elections.
A presidential aspirant under the platform of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Mohamed Hayatuddin, is pledging to abide by the decision of the party with regards to the mode of selecting the party's flag bearer. Fielding questions from journalists in Abuja shortly after being screened by the party, Mr. Hayatuddin promised to address issues of security, youth unemployment and infrastructure. He adds that addressing the nation's high cost of living will be one of the major focus of his campaign if he emerges as the flag bearer of the party.
We are now going to go through a major momentous event in the sense that we will either undergo a consensus exercise or go into direct primaries within the short period of time that is available. I stand ready, able and willing to go through that process. And if I'm successful in being the nominee, I would like to pledge to the Nigerian people that I will wage a campaign that is disciplined, focused, and geared towards meeting the yearnings and aspirations of Nigerians at a very difficult moment in the nation's history, given problems that relate to insecurity, the high cost of living crisis, massive unemployment, the lack of jobs, lack of power, lack of infrastructure, dilapidated educational and health institutions.
The delegation of the European Union to Nigeria and the Economic Community of West Africa have called on the media and other critical stakeholders to strengthen synergy in the fight against misinformation, disinformation, and fake news ahead of the 2027 elections. Speaking during the second edition of the Diplomatic Correspondents Association's conference in Abuja, Mr. Zisimus Vergas notes that this is a very critical period in Nigeria due to the increased political activities, so a lot of information, including factual and fake news, will dominate public space. He charged stakeholders, especially the media, to tackle the spread of misinformation in order to avert possible effects on citizens and the country as a whole.
For the case of Nigeria, that nowhere is this interference in the information space more dangerous and more deliberately deployed than in the context of elections. This is the moment that the actors of disinformation will wait to hit to create confusion, to discourage the people from coming forward to express this sovereign authority, to confuse the public debate to the extent that when somebody is in front of the voting booth, does not think any longer about the common good, but his or her personal interest. That moment, democracy is undermined. We have to defend the freedom of expression. Like I said, it's a very delicate balance. And again, organizations like Deacon, the Guild of Editors, the newsrooms, they are in a mission critical to make sure that the informed citizen is allowed to receive a spectrum of information, fact, evidence-based information that will allow them to decide.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has announced the smashing of a Nigerian-Mexican meth cartel with the arrest of 3 Mexicans, 6 others, in addition to recovering 480 billion naira meth precursors from massive clandestine lab in Ogun Forest. Nigeria, now a hostile country for criminal activities, and that's according to the NDLEA boss. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the chairman and chief executive officer of the agency, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, warns that no matter how deep into the bush illicit drug manufacturers hide or how secure their gated estate is, the NDLEA will hunt down and disrupt networks in order to seize their ill-gotten wealth. General Marwa, while appreciating the support from international partners to keep Nigeria and the global community safe from the criminal activities of drug cartels, commended the extraordinary bravery, professionalism, and precision of the NDLEA operatives.
From across major media outfits in Abuja, journalists converged on the headquarters of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency for a news conference. The briefing begins with the announcement of the smashing of a Nigerian-Mexican meth cartel in Ogun State.
Barely 2 weeks ago, we announced the successful takedown of a high-profile drug trafficking organization
headed by Simon Amadi, in a complex multi-country operation involving the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, Greece, France, Switzerland, and of course, NDLEA. Today, I am proud to announce that the NDLEA has again struck another crippling blow to the hearts of transnational organized crime. After months of painstaking, credible intelligence, our operatives launched a well-coordinated strike simultaneously in Ogun.
The need for Nigerians to report suspicious activities, strange chemical odors, or unusual movements in their localities is stressed as the NDLEA bus highlights recent successes recorded by the agency.
This criminal syndicate did not just traffic drugs. They were actively manufacturing industrial-scale quantities of highly lethal methamphetamine right on our soil, threatening the national security and public health in Nigeria. Our primary target was a remote and desolate farm located at Abidigba Forest in Ijebu East local government area of Ogun State.
Although the arrested suspects will be prosecuted, General Marwa insists that the war against illicit drugs is for the soul of Nigeria as a nation, and the agency will not back down until it achieves a drug-free Nigeria.
You're watching the news at 5 on Channels Television. Right after this break, in the world of business, Lagos State government targets revenue leakages in 80 state agencies. Details on business news when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, in a bid to strengthen emergency response, the Lagos State Command and Control Center held a multi-agency stakeholders engagement themed One Response, One Platform, advancing integrated emergency management in Lagos State. Declaring the stakeholders meeting open at Ikeja, the State's Commissioner for Special Duties and Intergovernmental Relations, Mr. Gbenga Oyerinde, said the gathering represents a strategic institutional framework for strengthening coordination and technology-driven emergency response management within the state. The Commissioner also adds that emergency management can no longer operate in silos, hence the need for integrated communication systems for effective service delivery.
First responders in Lagos State, including the State Emergency Management Agency, State Ambulance Service and the Nigeria Police, the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, Federal Road Safety Corps, State Fire Service, they are all here in Ikeja for stakeholders' engagement on how to deliver their services better. The event, which is organized by the State Command and Control Center, reinforces advancements in the integrated emergency management in the state.
This forum provides an opportunity for stakeholders to collectively examine operational gaps, improve incident escalation procedure, strengthen command and control coordination, and coordinated response actions.
A technology-driven device called Lagos State Emergency Responder Management System is now available for first responders to enhance emergency call handling, incident logging, and responder tracking, among others.
It will help their work to isolate incident cases that are genuine, and also to be able to guide them to incident places in real time, almost swiftly. And also, because we have lots of nuisance calls, this AI metrics middleware in between the emergency reports or calls now will be filtered by the AI metrics algorithm, and we can have the responders easily going to the response distress location.
The General Manager of the Lagos State Command and Control Center and other speakers believe that the engagement will strengthen operational synergy among first responders.
We will continue to see where we begin to embrace technology and we are able to reduce our response time. we'll find a situation where people call the command and control center, and because of the fact that this is a kind of a coordination meeting where we look at our gaps, we will bridge those gaps.
Every responder to disaster must know what their roles and responsibilities are, and they should know their limits. When I say know your limits, know when to pass on.
Issues of rampant domestic and sexual violence cases being handled by first responders are also worrisome to the government.
Now we do an average of 400, 450 new cases monthly, cases coming in through the toll-free line. There is a section in the Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency law which criminalizes concealment of sexual offense, and such parents can be actually jailed for up to 3 years imprisonment.
While the Lagos State government remains resolute in addressing emergency cases promptly, residents are also advised to collaborate with the authorities by reporting any incidents through the state emergency numbers of 112 or 767 to get the necessary help.
On business news, the Lagos State government has intensified oversight and performance monitoring across its parastatals and government-owned agencies as part of sweeping reforms aimed at boosting revenue generation and strengthening institutional governance across the state. The Permanent Secretary, Parastatals Monitoring Office, Mr. Olugbemiga Aino, who disclosed this during the 2026 ministerial press briefing in Lagos, explains that the Parastatals Revenue Generating Meeting is a strategic platform established to track revenue performance, identify leakages, and improve collection mechanisms.
Parastatal Revenue Generation Meeting. This is a program that was designed, has been in effect for the past 6 years, and it has brought in tremendous accomplishments and improved revenue generation amongst all parastatals. PAGEM was actually created to provide a platform for close monitoring of activities of revenue-generating parastatals. We measure the revenue performance vis-a-vis what has been set in the budget. We examine the effectiveness of strategies adopted by each parastatals and also standardize methods of revenue collection. Basically, we have consistently seen that the parastatals located within the security and governance pillar, which of course include the Lagos State Inland Revenue Service or Lagos Revenue Service, as the top revenue generator, followed secondly by agencies within the health and environment pillar. Of course, the physical space, physical planning and all, and LAPCA and all other agencies within that space also come closely second.
The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency has graduated 177 specialized personnel under its Deep Blue project. The trained workforce, comprising vessel operators, technicians, and boarding teams, was officially deployed to bolster Nigeria's maritime security and sustain the country's multi-year zero piracy record in the Gulf of Guinea. During the ceremony, which was held in Lagos, the Director General of Nimasa, Dayo Moberola, says the project is aimed at strengthening maritime security through collaboration with security agencies and private sector partners.
About 5 years since the Deep Blue project started as a major maritime security initiative by the federal government through the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, they staged a demonstration of how piracy, sea robbery, and illegal activities in Nigerian waters and in the Gulf of Guinea are being fought. This is what the 177 new graduates that make up the 2026 Deep Blue Maritime Training Programs project will be doing.
"33 special mission vessel officers,
14 special mission vessel engineers, 107 fast intervention boat drivers, technicians, and boarding team, and of course, 23 helicopter team.
They will, as usual, be stationed at the Command Control Computer Communication and Intelligence, that's the C4I Center in Lagos, and they'll be operating 24/7 to monitor the exclusive economic zone.
The Deep Blue project is a classic example of interagency collaboration. And just like a scholar once said, national security at its core is about interagency collaboration. Therefore, the maritime environment continues to face evolving threats which demands professionalism, cooperation, vigilance, and continuous capacity development among maritime security personnel.
All parties in the project, including the private sector player, HLSI, are proud of their achievements so far and promise to sustain the momentum to build a safe and prosperous maritime sector in Nigeria.
And that's it on the news at 5 on Channels Television. For updates, kindly visit our website. That's www.channelstv.com. I'm Dominic Iwiwo. Up next is The World Today.